One of the best ever.
Yeah, no doubt about it. One of the best ever. And if
Michael
you think
Jordan
that
reincarnated.
and if you think that Kobe Bryant is anywhere between 7 and 11,
Where do you have him?
I got him at 11. That's where I have him.
He don't even got him like right outside the top 5. He got him outside the top 10. Bow, boy, where you been? It's TeeJay, the artist. Rock with me. You are the smartest. And we back with another video, man. One NBA old head versus 10 Gen Z fans. Fan versus hater. Listen, this next one, he gonna have to come with it. I'm gonna let this play the whole, the rest of this time. We're gonna have a longer video today. But this man got another topic. I can't believe he said this. We're about to see what went on. Please lock in, y'all. Not an old head getting disrespectful. Let's get into the video.
Could you turn me up in the headphones a little bit?
General greater note, I'm glad we're giving the flowers to Malik Rose. That's a great basketball player who deserves it.
Kobe Bryant ain't a top 5 player all the time. How about
Kobe Bryant is not a top 5 player all time. I don't know about y'all, no particular order, but when it comes to the GOAT conversation, for me, it has been Bron, Jordan, and Kobe. So those 3 are already in my top 5. I gotta hear his top 5.
How about that?
He's not.
I gotta hear it.
How about that?
Oh, let's
Kobe
go.
Bryant is not a top 5 player.
Nonchalant.
First of all, shout out to bro. He got Celtic stuff on about defend Kobe.
In the building.
And this dude is gonna argue for Kobe Bryant. He got a Boston Celtics sweater on.
All right, who's your top 5?
James, Jordan, Jabbar, Chamberlain, Russell.
James, Jordan, Jabbar, Russell, and who?
Another top 5 player.
Nonchalant in the building.
And this dude is gonna argue for Kobe Bryant. He got a Boston Celtics sweater on.
All right, who's your top 5?
James, Jordan, Jabbar, Chamberlain, Russell.
Chamberlain, take him off. Take Chamberlain off. Kobe's in. There you go. Now, he did have those 5 like that. I will say that it wasn't like, this person. He fired them hoes off. I will give you that. But Chamberlain, get him out of here. He ain't do 100, bro. We ain't seen it yet. There was a 71-point game they showed not too long ago from the highlights, but they ain't showed 100. I don't believe it. But nah, being that you want to talk about plumbers and people playing plumbers and stuff, Wilt Chamberlain literally, come on, man.
Kobe Bryant had a stretch where he had 54 games in a row. You see James do that, or Kobe's not as good as James, but you see Bill Russell.
I don't think he is a good debater. He talks like he's a fan of the old head. That's what I'm getting from him. He talks like he's a fan of the old head.
Russell do that? He doesn't. Bill Russell played in a league where there were 8 to 14 teams. He won a lot of those championships. He didn't have that competition. I mean, Kobe, they went back to back. They took down a good Celtics team in 2010, that big 3. Kobe had 81 points. That's the second most of all time.
So to your point.
So he's saying that Kobe is better than Bill Russell. First of all, I do understand the point. You know what? I take back the fact that he's not a good debater or whatever, but that was a good point of saying when Bill Russell played, it wasn't even a lot of teams in the league to begin with. And he also was in that era where, it was Bill Russell versus Wilt Chamberlain a lot. It was the Celtics versus Lakers a lot, and they won so much. So I can't. Do I even have a top 5? Like, I got those 3, and I guess those other 2 are just, say it could be anybody. So I like I said, Kobe over at least Wilt Chamberlain for me.
Number 1, Bill Russell, 4 years straight, he averaged 20 and 20 in the playoffs. These how many guys except for Chamberlain could say that they did that. Lajuan, Jabbar, none of them dudes could say that. Chamberlain and Russell, the only 2 dudes could say that they won, and he still holds the record to this day for the most points and rebounds
How old are you? Did you watch Bill Russell play?
combined in Game 7. He went for 30 and 40. So your 81 that you were talking about, yeah, Bill Russell, he went for 30 and 40 in Game 7 of the NBA Finals. On top of that, he's still the third all-time leading rebounder in NBA history. You talked about it being 8 to 14 teams. Well, if 8 to 14 teams, that means that I have to see the tougher competition way more than I would normally. So if it's 8 to 14 teams in the league, instead of me having to see...
I don't like how you're trying to spin it. It's 8 to 14 teams, which means you're going to play against best teams every time. Not if you're the most dominant. You just going to be dominating the whole time, in which the Celtics did that. Come on, man. What it is if there's more teams, the people that's on your team get spread it out. The people that get, they are all spread it out. You don't have everything. During that time, they had everything.
The Trailblazers, who are 3 games out of the play-in today, and they end up in the playoffs. Instead of me having to see them in the first round of the playoffs, I got to see Oklahoma City in order to get to the NBA Finals. That's only a 1 playoff.
Yeah, I don't like how you spinning it.
That's why I have to see immediately to get to the NBA championship. If I'm in the Eastern Conference, and instead of me having to see the Chicago Bulls to get to the NBA or Charlotte to get to the NBA Finals, I have to see Cleveland in order to get to the NBA Finals right from the beginning. So when you have less teams in the league,
I don't like how you spinning it.
You have tougher competition that you have to see more, which means that you have to bring your game way more, which is why Bill Russell did what he did. On top of that, don't forget the 8 straight championships that he won, and he was the catalyst to that. They were 8-0 when he did that. The only time he lost, this is a guy who was in the league 13 years. 12 of those 13 years, he was in the NBA championship. The only time he wasn't was year 1.
There was less talent back then, though. You're talking about all these rebound sets, but there weren't as many centers that Bill Russell could rebound over.
Chamberlain was in the league.
Yeah, other than Chamberlain, there weren't as many centers that Bill Russell could rebound over.
Also, they was missing a lot back then, so that's how he got all them rebounds. You coming out of the game with 30, 40 rebounds. Yeah, I know why. Everybody can't nobody shoot.
And then we have all these role players. The role players these days are so much better. There's competition on every single team. There's a player that is good all the time. And Kobe Bryant just literally annihilated every single one of those
Interesting
players.
that you mentioned that Bill Russell is just the talent level. Just so you know, Jerry West wasn't on the Celtics. Elgin Baylor was not on the Celtics. Wayne Embry was not on the Celtics. Oscar Robertson was not on the Celtics.
I don't know who that dude you just named before
Russell.
Oscar Robertson.
Is just the talent level. Just so you know, Jerry West wasn't on the Celtics.
Okay.
Elgin Baylor was not on the Celtics.
Both of them was on the Lakers, though.
Wayne Embry was not on the Celtics.
Who was that?
Oscar Robertson was not on the Celtics.
He was on the Bucks.
Nate Thurman was not on the Celtics.
Who was that?
I mean, I can go over a bevy of players. Jabbar was not on the Celtics, even though he didn't play against Bill Russell. But there's a bevy of players that played during that time that weren't on the Celtics, and they were.
That was Bucks and Lakers.
Winning. Yes, sir.
It's a point. As we're respecting the shot clock.
Yeah, you hot because I ain't expect him to have some decent points. He got some decent points, and your comeback wasn't.
Oh, gee.
Yo.
What up, Mike?
What's up, brother? How you doing?
All right, here we go.
You gonna hate me.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Listen, I was over there sitting down, and I wanted to run by. Who's your top 5 again? Because you said, first of all, let's say this. R.P. Kobe. Who's your top 5?
James, Jordan, Jabbar, Chamberlain, Russell.
Chamberlain as in Wilt, and Russell as in Bill, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, first of all, respect to MJ, respect to LeBron. Those are 1 and 2. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is solidified number 3. There is no way in hell you're putting plumbers over Kobe Bryant. There is no way.
All right, calling Wilt and Bill Russell plumbers is disrespectful. You can call the people they played against plumbers, but don't call them 2 plumbers.
In hell, you're putting dudes that played before the 80s over Kobe Bryant. We're talking about Kobe Bryant, and Kobe Bryant gets so disrespected in this world because he didn't have the flashy numbers. People look at efficiency so much. People just refuse to go look at the tape of Bill Russell. I watched some of the tape. It's dreadful. It's actually horrible. I mean, I don't even know how you watch that basketball. The screen is all black and white. There is no three-point line. They really didn't do much in terms of skill level. But we're talking about Kobe Bryant. We're talking about a dude dude who came in at 17, 18 years old, played with Shaquille O'Neal, and played in probably the most rugged West we've ever seen in our lifetime in terms of playing against Dirk in Dallas, playing against Tim Duncan in San Antonio, running up against Steve Nash in Phoenix. I mean, the list goes on. Even Darren Williams and Utah Jazz, they had a little nice, cute squad.
I didn't think he was going to say a nice, cute squad, but Darren Williams, shout out to Darren Williams getting a shout out right there, because they forget about Darren Williams cooking with Utah. Now, when he got with New Jersey Nets at the time, or Brooklyn, no, it was still New Jersey. It was New Jersey. When he got with New Jersey, he didn't really pan out. He got that bread. He wasn't the same. But Utah Jazz Darren Williams was crazy.
You know, Tim Duncan in San Antonio. I mean, nonstop competition after competition. And then on top of that, in the finals, I mean, I'm not even going to talk about Shaq and Kobe. I want to talk about what he did after. Because what he did after was more memorable. Going up against Boston, who built Paul Pierce, who had Ray Allen. They had Rondo. I mean, they had Kevin Garnett. You know how much great Kevin Garnett was. He probably was better than Bill Russell. I honestly prefer watching Kevin Garnett over Bill Russell. I don't want to watch Bill Russell, personally. But Kobe Bryant, to not be top 5 and to put Bill Russell over him, to put Wilt Chamberlain over. Did you see his 100-point game? No, you didn't, because it's not real.
He on your head. Listen, I don't know why this became a thing, but the whole 100-point game that it seems like nobody knows where it is has been the most like trolly thing that everybody's agreeing with. This is what I think happened, bro. You know how folklore is like it grows greater as time goes along. I believe those stat people, somebody lost count. This is what I believe. Back then, the stats, you know, I feel like they lost count. It was like, they probably said some shit like, that boy had, like somebody asked him how much he had. It was like, that boy had like 100. They was like, he had 100. And they just ran with it. Bro, you had 100 points. I think that's what happened, bro. That's why we can't find it. Nobody recorded. Is anybody alive from being in that crowd? From that game? No, nobody. There wasn't a kid that is grown now that remember that 100-point game. There's no documentary of this 100-point game. We do documentaries for everything. They got a dang documentary for the We Believe team from the Golden State Warriors with Baron Davis and them, and they only won the first round. They got a documentary. So you don't got a documentary for the 100-point game? There's no way. Somebody got it. Like, well, not even documentary, but even just like a kid that was at the game. He grew up now. He remember that 100-point game. We ain't even got him. No stat people. No cameramen. No, it was just nothing. I'm telling you. It probably was they forgot. The stat man forgot the stats. He lost count somewhere. I'm not saying that this man did not score 100 points. Well, I'm not saying that he didn't score a lot. Because technically, I mean, not technically, but they got footage of him just scoring a lot. So, yes, he scored a lot. But this particular game, I think somebody lost count. Was like, man, he had about 100. He had like 100 points. And they told it was like, and they heard 100 points. So like, he scored 100. And they just ran with it. They don't even got no audio from like the news or nothing. I remember they AI generated one of them, and then they took some audio from one game and tried to put it over an old game and said that this was the 100-point game, and people found it out. We got footage of everything. They can show you footage 1936. But they ain't got the 100-point game. They probably got video of Steph Curry being born. But they ain't got the 100-point game.
That's how I know you didn't see that game. Did you watch Bill Russell? I know you didn't watch Bill Russell because there ain't really much to watch. Right. Kobe Bryant, putting those two over him is honestly diabolical. And OG, you way smarter than that. You don't do
you say you way smarter than that.
It's interesting that you mentioned that. So number one,
it's always interesting.
It's always
100%.
100%.
You know?
So let's start the conversation.
Yeah, walk me through Will's fake stats.
Let's start with the NBA not having the gumption to have a fake 100-point game. Like, why would they?
You seen it?
Why would they fake something like that? First
Did
of
you
all,
see it?
no, I didn't see it.
Is it proof?
Yes, it's proof.
Where?
It was
How
played.
haven't you seen OG? Your name is OG. You all.
I
I
wasn't around when that game was
Right,
played. I was not around when that game was played.
We can find everything else.
Yeah, we can. But
We can find tape from World War II.
And you have-
But we can't find that 100-point game.
You can find
Okay.
tape of it. You
All
don't have
right,
video
all right,
tape, but
all
there's,
right,
there's
all right.
audio tape of it.
Audio.
Yes,
I gotta hear it.
There's audio
I gotta
tape.
hear he had
First of all-
100.
Yeah, because first of all, the game was moved.
No, listen. I'm just trying to break it down.
All I know is that the game was moved. So the game was moved to Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
right? So
Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Yes, Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Talk.
This is where the NBA was.
Talk to
And
me.
since you're talking about Kobe Bryant, who by the way,
one of the best ever.
yeah, no doubt about it, one of the best ever. And if
Michael
you think
Jordan
that
reincarnated.
and if you think that Kobe Bryant is anywhere between 7
7?
7 and 11,
Where do you have him?
I got him at 11. That's why I have him. At.
He don't even got him like right outside the top 5. He got him outside the top 10. If I think that he should be in over Wilt Chamberlain, let's see who else he got.
What?
Yes, I have him outside the top 10. Yes.
11.
James,
Keep
Jordan,
going.
Jabbar, Chamberlain, Russell, Magic, Bird, Duncan, Olajuwon, Diesel.
And he firing them off. Hey, I respect you. He firing them off. Boom, 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 boom. I already got him over Wilt. Now I got to talk about your list, bro. You got him over. I mean, you got Olajuwon over him.
Where do you have him?
I got him at 11. That's why I have him.
A what?
Yes, I have him outside the top 10. Yes.
11.
James,
Keep
Jordan,
going.
Jabbar, Chamberlain, Russell,
Okay.
Magic,
Bird,
Duncan,
Duncan, Olajuwon,
Olajuwon, Diesel.
and Shaq.
What the hell?
Now, with that being said,
If I already got him in over Wilt, then pushing them outside, pushing Wilt down, and that mean according to his list, I would be pushing Shaq out. You have to take Duncan over him. Got to take Olajuwon over Shaq because Olajuwon bust Shaq ass. Shaq has more, but when he was in Orlando, Olajuwon bust his ass. And he got good footwork and stuff like that. Duncan got 5. Can't drop him out. Magic and Bird, they're dang near the same person because you can't say Magic without saying Bird. You can't say Bird without saying Magic. So they dang near got one spot together. So yeah, so Shaq has to be out. But if you do a center list, Shaq is higher. It's weird because now that I think about it, if I have to put Kareem, so Bron, Jordan, Kobe, Kareem, and most likely Tim Duncan. It got to be Tim Duncan. That'll probably be my 5. But him having Kobe outside of the top 10, bro, come on, man.
the way the game was moved, that 100-point game, it was moved to Hershey, Pennsylvania. So the NBA wasn't what it was in 1962.
Oh, we know.
It was moved, like as in the middle of the game.
It was barely 15 years old.
Barely 10 teams.
So of course they're not really checking for the NBA like that. And what what Wilt Chamberlain did during that time. I mean,
so how is Bill?
It's documented evidence.
Okay, so they moved the game. Was it they moved the beginning of the game to arena, or did they move it during the game? Like, oh, we gotta leave and go to this other part to finish the game off. Because if that's the case, my theory is right. If they had to, that's why they ain't got no footage, because it was in another building that they just played. Telling you, the stat man forgot what the man had.
It's documented evidence that he did that. And Chamberlain, they changed all the rules for him.
They had to change the rules because the game was terrible.
No, they had to change the rules all for him because he was so much better than everybody else. That's why they had to widen the lane.
How is Bill and Wilt over Kobe and Larry Bird?
I just told you. So
because they changed the game for them.
They had to change.
The game had to continue to evolve because first of all, there was only 10 teams in the league.
Which I had to see
there wasn't even enough guys. There wasn't even no.
I can't even talk. All right.
everybody in Wilt's athletic level. There was
Right.
guys that was 6'8", 6'9". Wilt
That's
was
not
the lone
true. So
7-footer.
I'm glad you brought that up. Because
that is true. You didn't even watch it.
So the average NBA height back then was what? You said 6'7", 6.
I said the average big man height. The average big man height. There wasn't that many bigs. James Worthy was playing. Not James Worthy. Elgin Baylor was playing the 4 at 6'6".
So of the 8 teams in the NBA during that time, like
Name
you just said, so Nate Thurman was in that league. He's 6'11". Bill Russell, he's 6'10" during that time. Chamberlain, he's also
about
6
7 feet tall.
And Wayne Embry, he's 6'9" during that time. That's half the league.
That's embarrassing.
That's half the league.
That's embarrassing.
And as far and as far
you just named 4 players, and you said it's half the league.
I didn't bring up Wally, who played for the Philadelphia 76ers. He's also 6'11". So with that being said, the average height during that time was 6'7". The average height in the NBA today, 6'6". So it's not like this.
If we plug in Wilt now, Wilt in the 2000s, he plays a plethora of centers. He plays Joel Embiid. He plays the Joker.
Yep.
He goes out there and he plays Giannis.
Yep.
He even plays Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. Like, he plays those type of dudes. You literally go back in the day, he has to play the same team 12 times.
Yep.
Literally 12 times.
Yep.
That's not even realistic.
Yes,
that doesn't even make no sense.
Because
we talking about Kobe Bryant.
It's a tougher competition.
No, it's not. You playing this.
I don't like how you spinning that. This is not tough for competition, bro.
You brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up. They're right, and I got
every week. So if the team ain't good, first of all, OG.
I remember I played in the summer league when I was legit. And unfortunately, it was only 2 teams in this summer league. So it was our team, they team. Our team just so happened to have everybody on, and we kicked this team ass constantly, over and over and over. That's that. If I'm better than you, I'm just better than you. He played the same teams over and over and over and over. If he's better than them, he's better than them. So him saying there's more competition that way. No, it is not. Not if you have everybody.
Oh, I want to say this. Hold on. I just want to say this one thing, and I'm gonna jump off. I'll go sit back over there and relax, brother. If Wilt Chamberlain played on the team, Bill Russell played on the team, they seen the same team every week. So if the team not good, they're going to beat them every single time. That's why their record's going to look like that. Kobe Bryant plays a team 3-4 times. If he sees the Spurs 3-4 times, Dallas 3 or 4 times, that's maybe 2 wins, maybe 1. Wilt Chamberlain can see the worst team in the league 12 times in a season because there's only 10 teams. That is 11 wins right there, flat out. That's all I'm saying.
Because you play the same team and you win.
That's all. I mean, shit.
All right, judges, how'd that one go?
I think OG has that. As much as I love Kobe and I don't believe in the Wilt 100 game, I think the Kobe 81 game is the highest scoring game. I do. They played. You said Hershey, the Hershey amusement park. That's where they played basketball. I don't want to.
This is different times. I heard a lot of arguments about Bill Russell, not enough about Kobe Bryant being the most spectacular player you ever saw. I mean, let's just talk about how great Kobe was as a basketball player instead.
Okay, so he's talking more so the debaters, not so much of who won the debate.
Of debating Russell's, defense he faced.
Let me just I don't gotta talk about the ex-boyfriend. I'm me. Why gotta talk about the ex-boyfriend? Why we gotta talk about him?
I mean, look, I think people play the game to win the game, and Kobe got 5 championships, which is more than Wilt, and against better competition in my opinion. So that's why I would have him up there. I'm not a Wilt guy. I'm not a player before 1975 guy.
Who's a Wilt?
Right. Yeah.
Well, besides you. All right.
Okay.
The 1992 Dream Team.
The USA Dream Team is better than the USA Lavengers. All right, this is basically another Jordan versus LeBron debate. They just worded it with Dream Team versus Lavengers. Because it's gonna come down Jordan versus LeBron. If it doesn't, it'll be interesting. But let's talk about it. The Avengers with Steph, Bron, KD, Ant-Man, Halliburton, Jason Tatum, Bam Adebayo, Anthony Davis. I might be missing some other people, but that team versus the Dream Team. Jordan, Magic, Bird. Magic and Bird, especially Bird was old. Magic, He was coming off his little, what he had going on. Charles Barkley, David Robinson, Scottie Pippen. I'm sorry. I got to give it to the Avengers. The reason why is because they played in an era, the Avengers played in an era where there's just more NBA players littered around the world. The Dream Team didn't have to play that. They basically played regular guys. Those guys in which were starstruck. Imagine being starstruck and then they just take advantage of you. That's what the Dream Team did. So now they have the mystique of we can't be beat because we beat everybody by 30, 40 points. The Avengers, they didn't have the luxury of doing that because there's NBA players littered everywhere. Look at the Canadian team. It's literally all NBA players dang near. There's way more talent to go around. I'm sorry. If you put the Avengers in that time, you saw what they had to do to beat some of these teams. Steph had to go crazy. Steph had to go crazy to win these games. In some of those the last two games, he had to go crazy. Dream Team ain't got nobody that can go nuclear like that. Ain't got nobody that can go nuclear like that. That's what I think.
Team would beat the Avengers in 2024.
I'm not going to hate on the Dream Team.
Please do.
14
That's your job, to hate on the Dream Team.
14 out of 15 players made the Hall of Fame, and they had Christian Laettner. But what I am going to do is I'm going to hate on the competition the Dream Team faced. In that finals against Croatia, they had Dragan Petrovic. He averaged 22. RIP, he was great. And Tony Kukoc.
And he ran out of breath.
But there was no one else. And I mean, nowadays, you have Giannis, you have SGA, you have Jokic, you have Luka, you have Wemby, you have all these other players that the Avengers had to play. Yep. And the competition is just so much greater than what the Dream Team had to face. And the Dream Team was really good, but they never actually had a legit team play against them.
So with, like you just said, they had to face SGA. They smoked that Canadian team. Who's on that Canadian team at the SGA?
Jamal Murray, Dylan Brooks, RJ Barrett, is a bunch of NBA players is what he's trying to say. Yeah, they smoked them. Yeah, they beat France because they supposed to. But my brother, what he's saying is they got more NBA players on those teams than y'all had back in the 90s, bro.
I mean, Jamal Murray was on that team, but he was awful in the Olympics. Who else besides him?
Who fought as that?
Was on that team. And then you're talking about that Croatian team. Croatia got disbanded.
Now here he go. He finna gas him up. About to gas up this team, bro. I already see it. Go ahead, gas him up. Make them seem better than they is. This is what y'all do.
Because it would have been Divac. It would have been Sabonis.
Would have been, should have been, but it wasn't. It wasn't. That Croatian team, they really had this. But we didn't see that. So throw that out.
That's who would have been on that team.
Throw that out.
That Croatian team. But only except it was just that Croatian team who was awesome with Tony Kukoc and with Dragan Petrovic. But that dream team was so awesome with everybody else. David Robinson, he was in year 5. Scottie Pippen, he was in year 4. Michael Jordan, he was in year 8. Patrick Ewing, all of these guys were in their prime, with the exception of Larry Bird. Magic Johnson, who's still in 1992, he was still in his prime. He was only 32 years old at that point. He wasn't a good player. He still was an awesome player. And and how fast they played, how Magic got everybody else involved in the game, how Jordan was at the peak of his power. How are this Avengers avenging against them when they had a tough time against South Sudan?
South Sudan was good. I don't think you watched South Sudan, bruh. You could just fire it off like that, but if you watch that game, South Sudan couldn't miss. Them boys don't even have a gym to practice in. Them boys practicing outside. Them boys real deal got it out the mud. Let's not do this. Let's not do this. Because they struggle with South Sudan. Did you watch that game? South Sudan played the game of their lives. And the Avengers, who struggled, won the game. So you know what that means, right? When a team is struggling and they still win, you know how good that team is? Come on, man.
Well, you have the Avengers in a hypothetical matchup. The Avengers would have the best player on the court in LeBron. You can agree with that.
A 39-year-old LeBron is better than a 29-year-old Jordan. I'm going to have a heart attack. I can't handle myself. I'm going to lose my...
This is what I mean by this guy that's up there right now debating. He is like, he has a good point, but I think it's one of those moments where it's like a broken clock strikes. Like the broken clock, get the time right 2 times, something like that. That's what he got. Y'all know what I mean by the broken clock. Yeah, that's how he talks. Because what he just said is crazy.
No, he is not.
You have Curry, who can hit the 3 from anywhere.
He was awful in the Olympics.
No, he was not.
Up until that game, up until the gold medal game, when they played, he was awful in the Olympics.
Oh, it was the last 2 games that he went crazy. And that's the reason that
Olympics. Awful. He was not good in the Olympics. Everybody talks about how good he was against France in the gold medal game.
When it mattered most.
Wasn't that good.
All right.
See?
All righty, brother. Good to talk to you.
Until the last 2 minutes of the game. Last 2 minutes. Let's go, Donnie. Yeah.
That don't matter.
Oh, good to see you again, brother. Yes, sir.
All right, come on, man. Help him out, because Buddy is like, he's on surface. So let's go. You good. Come on. Cook up.
All right.
Not only would the 1992 Dream Team not beat this year's Avengers, they would not beat any U.S. Olympic team after 2004.
Whoa, he took it. So that means he talking redeem team. He talking about the team that is forgot about, which is the one that KD and like we didn't have no big or nothing like that. He just said every Olympic team after 2004 would beat the Dream Team.
After USA Basketball got themselves together and they started having a plan and they brought everybody in, from 2008 and on, they lose.
2008 on.
1992 loses.
So that 21 team with Bam and Jason Tatum and Devin Booker
2021
and
is
Drew
not
Holiday.
that is not an Olympic team. I'm talking 2008, 2012, 2016. Even the 2020 team that was kind of shaky, 1992 would still lose to them, and then they would lose to 2020.
Why are we losing to Devin Booker and Drew Holiday? And
so old head is picking out the worst team of of the group and saying, why are we losing to them? You smart, because he's just gonna pick at that team now.
Bam Adebayo.
He ain't gonna talk about the Avengers.
Why are we losing to them with Michael Jordan?
The point guards on the 92 team cannot play. And if we're talking specifically I'll stay specifically with the 24 team.
Sure.
The point guards, Magic Johnson, who's old and in a debilitated state, and then you have John Stockton. They cannot play. They cannot play with the point guards today. They are not. Devin Booker, his defense this past summer, amazing.
Yep.
Drew Holiday, amazing. Derek White, amazing.
Yep.
Who is running with Steph Curry? Nobody.
Right.
The guards can't play.
You mean the same Steph Curry who was awful in the Olympics up until the semifinals?
You don't remember the Golden Dagger.
Yeah,
you don't remember that.
The Golden Dagger.
I remember that, which was in the finals. I remember that. I don't remember any of that against South Sudan. I don't remember any of that against all those other teams. I do remember that late. However, your team,
that's when it mattered.
My second team of Stockton, David Robinson, Ewing, Karl Malone. These are the guys that are coming off the bench. These aren't the guys who are starting. These are the guys that are in the rotation that we're talking about transition players. Stockton as a transition guard, getting Malone, getting Barkley, getting these guys in the game, as opposed to having to deal with Bam Adebayo at that time. And I'm a big time Bam Adebayo fan, but having to deal with Bam Adebayo and Drew Holiday and Devin Booker. No way do they beat them.
You're talking about Malone, Robinson, and Ewing playing in the second unit.
Sure.
If those are the three, are you playing Karl Malone at the 3? Because if that's happening, then you're putting Kevin Durant at the 3. And I'm telling you right now, Karl Malone wants no parts of
I will.
Olympic Kevin Durant. No parts.
I will agree.
No parts of that.
Now he will agree with that. Well, he just got played off the court, bro.
I will agree with that. Yes.
All right, judges, speak to me.
Yeah, nothing.
I think the one point, you're talking about the South Sudan game, the Croatia game. You look at what he said. You look at the last 2 minutes when it mattered. the things that Steph Curry did in those 2 minutes would have been international war crimes in 1972. So for that reason and that reason alone, I think it's got to go.
Yeah, so Steph is the buffer between this. It's like, y'all don't have a Steph, bro. Y'all don't have a Steph.
You do remember that in the South Sudan game. The old man had to say
He just trying to bring it to that, but him not going crazy in that game is just how good the rest of the team was, bro.
I mean, look, it's the dream team we're talking about here. It's really, really no comparison. Like the way that they went into that Olympics trying to make a statement with like not giving a shit about anybody felt of it. I don't see that level of dog in any Olympic team since '92. That's just me personally.
All right, this is our last topic, so if y'all have not stepped up or you
Last topic.
now is your time.
I have to listen to this all the time when it comes to OGs and young fans, and the word is NBA young fans understand the game better.
OG NBA fans understand the game better than young NBA fans. I think we understand, and I'm gonna be on the OG side. I think we understand the difference between the games better than young people. Young people are growing up in this new era of basketball. We've seen how they used to play, and it's changing into what it is now. So yeah, I can agree with this. Now the young NBA fans, they gotta do the research. We saw it. You know what I mean? They gotta do the research. We saw it go from an inside game that if you have a dominant inside game, you'll have a great outside game. We saw that. They didn't. You know what I'm saying? Hold on real quick. Like, we saw that. They did. You know what I'm saying?
Than OG fans.
Oh.
Hello again.
Here we
Hello,
go.
dear.
So now we have NBA Twitter, we have ESPN app, we have the Real app, we have everything, we have StatMuse, we have infinite access.
Sure.
On the internet. We can watch every game on XYZ streams. We have everything. OGs didn't have that.
No, we didn't.
So how could you possibly keep up with everything going on?
Well, just because you have it does not mean that you understand it. I mean, you can be in
Facts.
class and you can see all the information. That does not necessarily mean that you understand it. So with that being said, I wish that we had StatMuse and Basketball Reference and all of that stuff back then, because I could understand the game way better back then than I do now, because I can put numbers together. I can understand how action works. I didn't have that back then. All I saw was plays. A lot of these people, which you just brought up with NBA Twitter, which is a cesspool, by the way. And
Okay,
it's
speaking
toxic.
of that, the older generation gets tricked by NBA Centel. Younger fans can usually tell.
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up, because I've been tricked by NBA Santel. 100%. I've been tricked by NBA Santel.
Okay.
So
If you don't know what NBA Centel is, NBA Centel is a parody account, and it makes up BS, and they put it out, and sometimes it sticks, and sometimes it's been on like a TV channel. Like somebody has picked it up and made it a topic on their show before. Yeah, NBA Centel. Shout out to them.
So that's where you have to start paying attention more.
The media literacy, it's not.
Yeah, well, because when I see things, immediately I'm like, Joel Embiid is retiring. Wait a minute. But then now I have to wait a minute, hold on. That's not legit. And then I look and I'll say, it doesn't say NBA Central. It says, okay, so this is a troll. No doubt about that. So in terms of understanding the game more, I don't want to disrespect you as a younger fan, but there are some things that I do know about the game more than you do. But I also think
you are the OG.
But with that being said, there's some things that you could teach me too, and I just don't. I don't want it to be just an idea that I just know more than you. Keep your mouth shut. You don't know what you're talking about. Shut up and listen to me. No, I don't want that to be the case neither. But I also don't want it to be, you're old. You have no idea what you're talking about. The game was in the 1960s. The game was in the 1970s, and you haven't evolved. Yes, I have, because I love what's going on in the NBA today, as opposed to what was going on 20 years ago. I love what's going on in the NBA today.
I got cooked again.
Yeah, I got cooked again. You didn't really get cooked. That's just the thing. You ain't get cooked.
Hello again.
I think it's inarguable that the average fan today understands way more about the average fan back then. You can't compare OG.
Okay, no. He's taking it another way. I think he's trying to say that y'all understood y'all game less than we understand our game right now. I thought that it was understanding the game in general. I didn't know it was era versus era. I didn't know that. That's how he's taking it.
G's to young bucks. You can't compare a flip phone to a smartphone. Mm-hmm. You can't compare a VHS tape to streaming services. Mm-hmm. One is inarguably better. Mm-hmm. And with the amount of access that we have today, we can watch more. You had to wait for a certain time and watch a game and watch a rerun to even watch that game. You had to rely on what's on national television and also hearing what those people are saying to you. With the influx of content creators, NBA League Pass, I could watch anything I want, whenever I want, at whatever time I want. The access to information is different. That's why the
access to information is different, and people choose to still not use it.
Modern fan today is way smarter than the average fan back then.
You would think that that would be the case, considering your access to information. Only except I hear some of the dumbest stuff that I've ever heard in my life from you guys.
And I hear some of the dumbest stuff from OGs.
Right, and the reason why is because we didn't have the information that you have today. And since you're on the subject of streaming,
you guys have the same information.
Since you have stuff like streaming services, League Pass sucks. League Pass is awful.
YouTube TV is not, though.
I've actually had to unplug my TV because I thought something was wrong with my TV because I'm trying to figure out what's wrong with it. No, that's not the problem. League Pass just sucks. I understand the game, and not just me. I feel like there's a lot of other people who understand the game that's my age that recognize that the game is a lot better today than it was. I can't live back in, no, get me wrong now, Joe. There is a guy walking around today that's saying he's 80-something years old. That's like Bob Cousy's the best point guard in NBA history. He's still doing that. I'm not one of those dudes, and I know of plenty of guys, because we live in the information age and because I've accessed that information to understand the game, so I can sit here and talk to you and talk to the rest of you guys and have a legit conversation and not look like a complete goofy because I understand what I'm talking about because of the information age.
You are not the measuring stick for the average old fan,
Yes,
though.
I am.
I think, no.
No, you're not.
I think that
No, you're not. You know a lot more than the average OG fans. OG fans will just tell you, this person's better than him, and that's it. You can't argue with me. That's it. That's how it goes with OGs.
you are of the age group, but you don't represent them because your opinions are a lot like the opinions of new school people.
Right.
We agree with you that Larry Bird is better than Kevin Durant. We agree with you about these all-time great players. I think the average old fan is just trying to diminish the product, talking about fouls, talking about defense. They don't take into account any of the complicated stuff that is going on today, both defensively and offensively. The game is more complicated now, and a lot of older fans don't want to acknowledge that.
Hello.
All right, finish it off.
Hello.
What's up?
So, Joel made a lot of good points, generally. I think we need to get to the root of this. This is clearly a very personal issue. This is the question of, you said young fans don't know as much as old fans, right? Correct. When you're on TikTok and you see 13-year-olds in your comments, they don't know as much as you. They do not. They're 13 years old. Current OGs versus young fans, 100% true. You're not going to see a 13-year-old that knows more than you. You got to look at it as proportionally. When you were 13 versus when a 13-year-old today, and for all the reasons they mentioned, the access to information, proportionally younger fans know more than OGs did when they were their age.
Right.
13-year-olds are going to be stupid no matter what generation you're talking about. And 45-year-olds are going to be smart and are more knowledgeable, more experienced in any generation we're talking about. So if you compare that no matter what era, if this is the 50s kids versus the 80s kids or the 80s kids versus the 2020s kids, the kids are going to be dumb as hell.
Right.
That's just the territory.
But I've actually spoken to kids that are 16, 17 years old that know the game, and I can actually have conversations with them, and they talk to me, as opposed to some young ones, considering what the information is that we have today, that are clueless, have no idea. And I'm trying to figure out, how do you not know this? How do you not know what's going on? I actually had a kid come to me not too long ago who said, "Hey, OG, who is Alex English?" Oh my God, man. How do you not know who Alex English is? With the information that we have in today's game, we have a guy who scored the most points from 1980 to 1989. When Bird, when Bernard King, when Magic, when Dominique Wilkins was running around. And you can get this information. The fact that you don't know this is a disservice to you as a youngster, because if I had this kind of access when I was 14, 15 years old, because that happened to me, I don't know who Elgin Baylor is at that point. My uncle is turning me on to him like, okay, who is Elgin Baylor? And then I go home and do some homework and find out, oh shit, this guy is awesome. I don't know who Elgin Baylor is at that point. I'm too wrapped up in Dominique Wilkins.
Now imagine if you were your dad and you had to talk to the dumb kids of the 80s and you had to ask them about players that played on the Hawks.
Right.
Who's the fourth man on the Hawks in 1967?
Right.
I don't know. I guarantee you back then, they did not know. It was even worse proportionally. So yes, 45-year-olds, smarter than 13-year-olds. today's 13-year-olds.
This is off topic. Why your hands so small? I keep looking at his bad hands.
Analytic stuff.
It looks so little.
Makes people not as smart. That's
his hands look so little.
You can debate whether or not young people should be talking about numbers, talking about eye tests, whatever. At least they got both.
Right.
You know, that just the simple information age that you have access to.
Maybe it's because of how he got it.
On average, ultimately, is going to be
Maybe it's the
higher.
jacket.
So to argue against that is equally as silly as to argue that 13-year-olds are smarter than 45-year-olds. You know.
I'm just here to bridge the gap. That's what I'm here to do. That's all.
And I respect it.
That's what I'm here to do.
Okay.
13-year-olds are stupid. We can agree on that.
Also, because of y'all, a lot of the younger fans are smarter than they would have been.
It's true. Doing the Lord's work.
All right, grand finale.
That's it.
My man back again.
Yes, we're back.
Yes, sir.
I'm not going to sit here and say older fans are smarter or vice versa, but I will say people are dumb in general. Dumb does not have a timeline. Dumb doesn't have a year. Dumb is dumb. What is different, though, is the accessibility that we have to see who's dumb or not. Anybody can get one of these mics. Anybody can go to a Starbucks and get Wi-Fi and tweet or TikTok the most random takes ever. You have the ability to hear that and see that compared to back then.
Sure.
You don't have the ability to be that unless you're like in a barber shop or you're at school. So you hear more dumb stuff.
Right.
That doesn't mean that more dumb stuff is apparent these days.
But I feel like the information that you have access to lessens you being that dumb because
So they basically are saying access. Who got the most access?
Because you absolutely have the access to know what's going on. So I'm not in the dark about who Devin Booker is. I'm not in the dark about who Quentin Grimes is because I have the access because I have League Pass as opposed to years by. You don't know who Dale Ellis is. You have no idea who this dude is.
I still barely know who he is.
Right. You don't know who and what you're going to do is you're going to go back and you're going to go watch some footage of Dale Ellis and be like, oh, shit, this dude was really good. So if you had this kind of access back then, you had the choice to see how you can view players. And what I do when I evaluate players, I make sure that I get all the information because I have access to it, which means to me that you're choosing to be dumb.
But people choose to be dumb back then too. It just plain basic ignorant normal bias.
We didn't have that information. Like I wish I could have seen John Stockton more than I did. I wish I could have seen Charles Barkley more than I did.
So you're saying people are dumb now because we have the information to
and
still
you don't use it. And you don't use it.
The information was available back then too. There was newspapers. Those were the mediums that y'all used back then.
And I'm glad you brought that up.
Y'all ain't used
and I'm glad you brought the newspapers up. And I know we got to go, unfortunately. But the newspapers that we had, I had to wait and listen to you tell me what it is, as opposed to today where there's actual information from Basketball Reference, from StatMuse, and I can do my homework on all of this stuff from NBA.com and understand the game a lot better from a statistical standpoint, from a strategic standpoint. I couldn't do that back then. All I saw was the box score. Dominique Wilkins went 38 last night. I ain't care that he went 6 for 22. I didn't care about that.
Dumb is dumb.
Dumb is dumb.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So burden of proof is typically on the prosecution. They need to definitively prove that this generation now is better than his generation. So even if you think today is better, they had to actually prove that to you. Did they do enough? So let's go one by one and reveal the final results.
Y'all start. I think
I'm gonna say that the OG held his own. The very first topic was Magic Johnson is a better PG than Steph Curry. Get that to the young folks. 90s is better than 2010. I think I gave that to the OG because he was talking about a deeper range than the 2010 Warriors. They was just kind of talking about 2017 Warriors. Can't remember. Y'all can go back to my NBA. The 90s NBA era is not overrated. I think he held his own in that too. Larry Bird is better. This is why I disagree with him. Tim Duncan, the best power forward. I agree with him. Kobe Bryant, I disagreed. 90, I disagreed. And I agreed. So, disagree. Agree. 1-1. I think the old head. 2-1. 2-2. 3-2 old head. 3-3. 3-4. It was a tie for me.
I think it was a lively debate. I think the OG here for bridging that gap in a game that we all love. But if you could pass me that glass, please. Sure. I'm drinking the haterade.
Okay.
Okay.
You just drink that man water?
Well, I mean, when you start off early with an argument that Magic Johnson is a 6'9" Ben Simmons, you've lost and you're not going to recover from that. And
Yeah.
I didn't hear after
He did
that.
say that. Okay, I might have to rock with the OGs. Okay, okay, OG win.
Enough hate. I saw deference. I saw respect. And I don't think that's what I was looking for. So
He was looking for smoke.
I got it.
He's like, where's the smoke?
I got to side with the fan.
Wow. To be fair, you're
OG
an editor, so
is
you
1-1.
understand Angles that people need to take to convey a point.
You
And
got to
they did
be
not do
able to
that.
argue either side of the
OG
debate.
did his
and
thing
I don't
until
think
he got to that Kobe
either
stuff.
side argued strong enough by the haters.
All right, I guess I'm the deciding vote. I feel like part of being young is thinking you know everything, and then part of getting old is realizing you didn't know shit. And and with each passing day, I myself am becoming an OG. And
So you gotta go with
hear
OG.
you guys come in here and make some solid points, but overall avoid some of the topics and talk about other things that didn't have to do with the topic at hand. I felt that OG did a
OG
better job
wins.
kind of staying on topic, making clear points, and overall, I'm going with OG. I'm going with the fan.
The OGs come away victorious. Tune in next time, but let us know what y'all want to see in the comments debated next.
Well, there you have it. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, man. That was a good one. There is this one Lamar fan versus 10 Lamar haters. I'm gonna run that one. There's another one where Skip Bayless is debating people. I'm gonna force myself to watch that one. Stay tuned. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, man. Peace.